Hey, it's day 2, and we are going to find the mass of some compounds. This shouldn't take very long. It's a really easy process, but you need your periodic table. Now, if you don't have your periodic table with you, you can get one online. There's tons of them around. We're really interested in the masses on that table. Remember, that's the big number today. So let's get started. All right, so we have our formula here. We have H2O, and we all know that that means there's 2 H's and 1 O. And now we're going to go find our tables. So we will flip to our periodic table. Hey, there's the one I decorated not too long ago. And we're going to look at that, and we're going to see, oh, here is the mass of hydrogen. Now, 1.008. We don't care about those decimals. We're going to round it to the ones place. So hydrogen's going to be 1. Let's go back. And so we have 1. And I want you to show this way. So we have 1 is the mass. And there are 2 of them. So put 1 times 2. I want you to show me this way. This is how I want it to look on your paper. Plus the mass of oxygen. Now there's 1 oxygen. Remember that rule. There's 1 oxygen because the 1 subscript is optional. And there we go. We find oxygen. Oh, here it is way on the other side, right? And it's 15.9999999. Let's round that to 16. Right? Let's make it easy on ourselves. So that's going to be 16, if I can find the notes. There they are, plus 16. Now you can put 16 times 1, but what's the point, right? So now you're ready to punch this into your calculator. So punch it into your calculator. Where is the old calculator at on this thing? There it is. And let's clear that off. We don't need that. So we have 1 times 2 plus 16. Of course, we know that equals 18. Look what that looks like. See how that's written up there on my screen? If you write it that way on the paper, it's exactly the way you can type it into your calculator. And that's what's important, right? We want to be able to do it easily, and we want to have a reason while we're doing it. So we might as well do 2 things at once. And now, the units for that. If it is a single molecule, it will be AMUs, which means atomic mass units, which is pretty much the mass of a proton or a neutron. If you want to find the molar mass, which this paper says molar mass, your paper will today, molar mass is just that same number, but with grams behind it. Now what we're doing there and why we're doing that is because we can't measure. Remember that day in school when I put out the mass of a proton and there were like 31 zeros, right? 31 decimal places for the mass of a proton, right? So 18 times more than that is still gonna be like 31 decimal places. We can't measure that on our scales. So we can measure grams. And so a little trick that they've made up is instead of measuring it in the real units, the atomic mass units, they just switch that all to grams. And now we can use that grams to measure out in the lab, and all the ratios stay the same and everything works out. Now they call this concept the mole concept. And all it means is we're going to measure out a large amount that we can actually do in class on our scales and not worry about the individual atoms. Hey, that's all I have for that. Hey, I'm going to pump through these real quick. We have carbon, and carbon's mass is 12. And we have that with oxygen. Oxygen was 16. So let's go back. And so we have 12, and there's 1 of them, plus 16 times 2. Right? Punch that into your calculator. You're going to find 44. Okay, we're not going to worry about writing those units on there right now. We're just going to do this. Ooh, look at this one. This is a good one. Okay, now I have my table here in my room. So I'm in the school right now, so I can see this table. I don't have to go flip back and forth, right? So I can see it, and so I'm gonna do this real quick. Aluminum has a mass of 27. Carbon's 12. Hydrogen is 1. Oxygen is 16, all right? So there's our numbers that we're gonna need. Now we just have to know how many of each one there are. Hey, don't forget about the invisible subscript. So we have 1 aluminum, 27, plus 12. That's the mass of carbon. And we have 3 times 2. Remember, we're multiplying. 3 times 2. So that's times 6. There's 6 carbons there. Plus hydrogen. Hydrogen is 1. And we have 3 times 3, which is 9. Plus oxygen is 16. And we have 2 times 3, which is 6. Okay. Now, if you don't want to say it that way, let me put a time sign. If you don't want to do it that way, you could do this too. You could say 27 plus carbon is 12 times 2 times 3, right? Where I'm just taking the subscripts and putting them right there together. And that 3 is coming from here. And that 2 is coming from here. And that mass is coming from, whoop, right there, right? So you can do that too. That way you don't have to multiply in your head. Maybe you're not, maybe you can't multiply numbers in your head very fast. If that's the case, then just go ahead and go like the mass of hydrogen is 1. There's 3 in the polyatomic ion, and there's 3 outside. Oops, I went to parentheses there for some reason. That still means the same thing, right? Plus, oxygen is 16. And there's 2 inside the parentheses, and there's a 3 on the outside. And that will all work out the same way. You can punch that into your calculator that way. It might be faster for some of you guys. You might like it better. It's up to you. You know, it doesn't matter as long as you're getting the right numbers. Now, I do want to see the work, though, because I want to make sure that you are doing it right. And I want to make sure... Oops, my calculator is all whacked out here. 27 plus 12 times 2 times 3 plus 1 times 3 times 3 plus 16 times, oops, I just pushed plus. 16, I got 204. Now, so I want you to show, I want to see this, right? I want to see this stuff. I want you to write it out like this, right? On the homework sheet that you're getting, there is a key. It tells you the answers on the bottom, the next page. So that's there for your checking to make sure you're doing it right. 40 times 3 plus 31 times 3 plus 16 times 12. It pays when you know the mass is already right. And then you can punch that in. Okay. Yeah, so it's not too bad. You just follow those little instructions. And I don't think you'll have much problem with it. Whoops, I just moved my screen and went weird. Get back here. Oh, just like real class, nothing really works right. There we go, here. How about this? 4, that's supposed to be a 4, 405, right? There's our answer. I don't know why it did that, and I don't know how to get out of that. Hey, there we're back, okay? So that's that. I'm not going to talk much longer on it because I just know you want to get ready and get busy. Now remember, there are due dates on this stuff. That's how they're keeping track of your attendance. You need to keep up or they're going to mark you absent, right? You need to show progress. You need to show forward progress in your studies, and that's in every class. So make sure you keep up. I'm going to try to keep it short. I'm going to try to keep it direct. but sometimes I get a little long-winded. We know that. So I hope you're having a safe time out there, and you're being safe and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully we'll be back together in 2 weeks, but we don't know. So keep up with your work. All right, I'm out of here. Have a nice day.